Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday service, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Augusta, April 4th, Easter Sunday. This morning, our morning announcements will be given by our board member, Tim Hunter. Tim?
Hi, good morning. My name is Tim Hunter. I'm a member of the UUCA board, and the announcements are as follows. Starting today, April 4th, 2021, we are using a new Zoom format for Sunday services. You join today's services with your video on and audio muted. For the best viewing experience during the service, please select speaker view. The person speaking will automatically appear full screen. To appear in joys and sorrows, click the reactions button and click on raise hand. Please remain muted until your name is called. When you're done speaking, please mute yourself again. After the service, we will ask everyone to unmute and switch to gallery view for fellowship. Coffee with the Minister for our visitors will be conducted today via Zoom following the service. There will be a Zoom link in the chat at the end of the service that you can use to access this informal discussion. A reminder that Sunday RE classes for school-age kids K-5 have resumed, meeting from 10:10 to 10:50. The classes will be led by Lynn Bonner with help from Kim Miner. The Zoom link and the other information are in your e-announcements. There was a mix-up. The social justice meeting for last week was canceled. It wasn't, I'm not sure if it was put out during the announcements or not. So my bad. There was a mix-up. So apologies for that, but we will meet again next month or later on this month as normally scheduled. The UU Monday Meditation Group gathering will meet online and face-to-face in the sanctuary in a hybrid meeting tomorrow evening, Monday, April 5th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Contact Elizabeth McNabb or Melanie Roberts for information. Individuals who are interested in meeting in person in the church on Monday nights should get in touch with Chris Garcia and let them know about today. The Wednesday evening exploration group continues the discussion of Ibram X. Kendi's Out to Be Anti-Racist via Zoom on April 7th at 7 p.m. Contact Janet Parsons for the link and the chapters to be discussed. The church office will be closed March 31st to April 13th. The UU Goddess group will meet at 6 p.m. on Thursday, April 8th on the church patio, as well as online via Zoom. Same link every month. Contact Jezebel Anat for information. Please check this week's e-announcements for the contact information for each groups and others that you may wish to register for. There's also a link to the UUCA calendar that will let you know what is going on at the church during the week and the month. Again, the church office will be closed until Tuesday, April 13th. The church is now in phase 4 of the church reopening guidelines. This primarily expands the numbers of individuals allowed in church building at one time from less than 15 to 15 or more. This permits larger attendances to group. This permits larger attendance at the group meetings and lectures to take place in areas such as the sanctuary and comedy room. However, until the current CDC guidelines for faith-based organization change, there and our current masking and social distance guidelines are still in effect. A complete description of the phase 4 requirements are posted in the April newsletter. The link to the Georgia Department of Health, COVID-19 and Augusta University immunization information is in your e-announcements. And once again, happy Easter, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Just before his death, Jesus said to his disciples that the integrity of a person's faith could be proven by this simple religious quiz. Did you feed the hungry? Did you find and give refreshment to the thirsty? Did you clothe the naked? Did you visit the sick and those in prison? I think if Jesus were here today, he would say, you talk the talk, but did you walk the walk? That's the quiz. Our joys and sorrows this morning will be presented for you by a member of our pastoral care team, Margaret Tuck. Margaret?
Good morning, everyone, and Easter greetings to everyone. Now, as traditionally, we have a time in our service where we share joys and concerns. We have a slightly different procedure today, but if Chris would go ahead, we remember those firstly who cannot be with us today, and then we remember those who are in the military services and away from their families for being here today.
Thank you, Margaret. Our opening hymn this morning will be Gather Us In. David?
Good morning, everybody. The hymn called Gather Us In is not found in our hymnal. It is found in hymnals of some other denominations, particularly Catholic denominations often use this hymnal. It's quite famous in many areas. And I'm extremely excited to say that Ruth McNugent is making her debut as our hymn leader, song leader today. And this is one of her favorite hymns. And you might be familiar with it. We'll have the words on the screen and you can follow along and then sing along a little bit if you like. And so here is Gather Us In with Ruth McNugent singing.
Here in this place the light is streaming, now is the darkness vanished away. See in this space our fears and our dreamings, brought to you in the light of this day. Gather us in, the lost and forsaken, gather us in, the blind and the lame. Call to us now and we shall awaken, we shall arise at the sound of our name. We are the young, our lives are a mystery. We are the old who yearn for your face. We have been sung throughout all of history, called to be light to the whole human race. Gather us in, the rich and the haughty, gather us in, the proud and the strong. Give us a heart so meek and so lowly, give us the courage to enter the song. Not in the dark of buildings confining, not in some heaven light years away, but here in this place the new light is shining. Now is the kingdom, now is the day. Gather us in and hold us forever. Gather us in and make us your own. Gather us in, all peoples together. Fire of love in our flesh and our bone.
Thank you, David. This morning, a quick reminder, the meditation group will be meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Zoom, but if any of you listening would like to join us face-to-face and meditate together with us here in the church, The doors will be open at 7 o'clock to meditate together here in the Unitarian Church. If you remember, about a month ago, we practiced a baseline meditation. To keep it very brief, we'll meditate for 1 minute. I'll mind the time. If you remember back that far, we had 4 points: posture, presence, what, and who. The first 2 points are important. Posture means to come to the front of your chair or wherever you're sitting. Try to come as close to the edge as you can and still maintain your balance. If you place your sitting bones near the edge of your chair, instinctively your body will try to stand and sit straightly. Next point, presence. Very simply, ask yourself this question: what am I doing? If you say, I'm meditating, that's incidental. What you are really doing is, I am sitting in a chair. We will meditate for 1 minute. I'll mind the time. This month, we'll have a poetry reading. Our reader will be Liz Goodson. She will be giving us 2 readings. Liz? Liz?
Hello. How do I? I'm going to read 2 poems by Hoyt Goodson, my husband, and he was a very active member of our church for 30 years, with on the board and on committees, and gave sermons, and had a good sense of humor. He wrote a book and named it Out of My Mind to Yours. I'm going to read a poem that's called The High Wire of Life. I strive to balance myself on the high wire of life between the 2 eternities of the past and the future.
It's
The power of the
11:15.
past tugs at me, and before the gravity of nostalgia overpowers me, my friend Fear, my balancing pole, helps me balance myself. I move confidently in the present, keenly aware that the high in life is in the now. The future tugs at me. My imagination knows no bounds in my search for immortality. The desire for a better tomorrow is pulling me away from today. I regain my balance. Today is where the action is. I continue my walk on the high wire of life, in the here and the now, where the 2 eternities meet. And Hoyt wrote another poem after he finished publishing his book, Stardust. When the novas and the supernovas exploded, our universe lit up like the 4th of July. Stardust danced through the skies and the planets played musical chairs until planet Earth wound up with the prize. Like baby bear's porridge, it was not too hot, not too cold. It was just right for primordial soup. Stardust atoms clung to each other like hydrogen and oxygen, sperm to an egg. Life had to happen, it just couldn't help it. If God is responsible, he's as silent as the darkness that preceded the stars. It's good to know that we're all related. The trees and the honeybees, the flowers and the hummingbirds, you and me and a chimpanzee. Gazing at the stars, I stand in awe at how closely related we are. Stardust is all there is. When a planet is dying or a carcass decaying, it is stardust in transition. So what do I know about you and me? I know that we have been here from the get-go. And I know that we will always be here, that we are immortal, indestructible. I know that the core of our being, we are beautiful, eternal, and valuable, for we are stardust.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Hoyt. This is a season of resurrection. Our church has gone through a year of great darkness and difficulty. We had to struggle to see if we would even make it this far. So far we have. We want to offer our gratitude to all of you who have been faithful in your pledges and your offerings as best you could. And to all of those who were kind of in the background before and now have stepped up to the front to fill in the gaps and to keep the church going. All of us as a spiritual community are indebted to you, and we are looking grateful and to the future for the chance to be together again, just as we were before, even though things may not be exactly the same as they were ever. This is your chance again to support this thing that we all have together here, a chance to give your offering. And the link will be on your desktop. Stephen?
I'd like to begin with a moment of silence for the Capitol police officer who lost his life and for another incident at the Capitol, and a moment of silence for all of us as a nation. Blessed be. I celebrate Easter. The Orthodox will say that I'm a pagan. The secularist will say that I'm a reactionary. Both have forgotten the origins of the holiday. It was a brief but It was a brief but eventful life. He was conceived by a virgin. He was born in a strange town. He inherited a royal lineage. He escaped a mortal danger in infancy. He was tempted in the wilderness. He received the commission to rule the world. He performed extraordinary miracles. He was the victim of a cruel death. He disappeared from the burial vault. He descended into hell. He appeared to the women of the entourage. He ascended to heaven in a cloud, and the disciples waited for his triumphant return. His name was Hercules, the peasant demigod of Tarsus. For centuries, the people of the Mediterranean annually observed the death and resurrection of their gods. And I'm going to name drop and mispronounce a few. Osiris, Dionysus, Aphrodite, Adonis, Eurydice, Tammuz, Attis, Mithra, were all celebrated in these lively spring festivals. Christ was a late arrival. Christ, derived from the Greek word Christos, the anointed one. The story of the Last Supper, Passion, betrayal, trial, crucifixion, and resurrection was a transcript of a mystery drama long familiar in the ancient world. Each of the gods died a violent death. Each of them was resurrected from the grave, and each of the gods promised to reappear in order to establish a heaven on earth. So waiting for the Messiah was a common preoccupation of the ancient world. People are still waiting. The robins arrive, but no savior. The flowers blossom, but no judgment. The lambs appear, but no heaven on earth. Waiting is not the same as patience. Patience is an inner quality of forbearance. Waiting is an idle state, a state of doing nothing. Even if I am waiting for a ticket to heaven, there's enough to do with the mind and body and spirit without sinking into pure anticipation. Waiting alone is irresponsible. It must always be accompanied by a creative activity. What do we see when we look at Jesus and his ministry? He is intense. He is rushed. He is hurried. He moves quickly. Possessed by the idea of the kingdom of heaven, he believes it will occur immediately. So every act is significant. Every step is crucial. Every moment is full. Jesus is not waiting. It's the very opposite. Life is too short. He is involved in everything. He has little regard for marking time. If he was wrong about the coming of the kingdom, he was hardly an advocate for waiting around. Why then are people still waiting? Not only for the Messiah, but also for almost everything. Every day I meet those who are waiting for grief to pass, waiting for children to mature, waiting to win the lottery, waiting to find themselves, waiting to change a job, waiting for a marriage to end, waiting for the past to return, waiting to cure an addiction, waiting for an ideal partner, waiting to go back to school, waiting for a dream to materialize, waiting to retire from work, waiting for the future to come, waiting for a spouse to change, waiting for a perfect truth, waiting to lose those few pounds, waiting for a parent to die, waiting to do a good deed, waiting for a call from God, and waiting to say, I love you. Waiting is a passive response to life. It's being controlled by events. There's no energy or passion in it. There's a wonderful Jewish legend. It's about a rabbi who was traveling from Israel to Rome. Along the way, he had a dream. It was a beggar dressed in rags sitting at the gates of Rome. A voice in the dream said, "Do you see that woman? This is the Messiah, dressed as a beggar." The rabbi woke up, but he could not forget the dream. As he approached Rome, there was a figure dressed in rags sitting at the gate. The rabbi said, "Are you the Messiah?" The beggar nodded, and the rabbi asked, "What are you doing here?" She answered, "Waiting." "Waiting," said the rabbi, "waiting in a world so full of misery and hatred and war, in a world in which the children of Israel are scattered and oppressed, in a world where people are hungry, you sit here waiting? In the name of God, what are you waiting for?" The Messiah replied, "I've been waiting for you so I could ask you, in the name of God, what are you waiting for?" Why do I celebrate Easter? First, because I'm invigorated by the spring season. It is the cycle of birth and renewal. As the tiny buds form on the limbs of the trees, as the small animals return from a winter hibernation, as the singing birds begin to build their nest, as the wild colors appear to wave in the fields and orchards, and aren't the azaleas magnificent? Sweet spring is your time, is my time, is our time, for springtime is love time, and viva sweet love, announces the Unitarian poet, E. E. Cummings. In the spring, as the juices of life flow through the frame of the earth, it also cruises through the veins of the human body. For I'm a portion of creation, responding to the commands of nature like a leaf or a flower. Spring is aliveness. Second, because I am invigorated by the example of Jesus. He was his religion incarnate. He was the expression of his faith. He was the embodiment of his inner commitments. If I cannot live a life that is a copy of Jesus, I can live my own life as truly as he lived his. No profession of faith that is based on habitual tradition. No recital of faith that is based on memorizing authority. No flashy posturing of faith that is based on cheap popularity. Christian theologian Paul Tillich once said, "My religion is the answer to the question I am," which means that my highest ideals must be intimately related to my personal character. With vibrancy, constancy, and consistency, my religious convictions must embrace every cell of my body, molding, shaping, and informing every aspect of my life. In short, I am my faith. Third, because I'm invigorated by the call to action. Third, because I'm invigorated by the call to action. I am not waiting for the Messiah. Waiting is a denial of our own volition, of our human obligations. I tire of those who moan, "If only such and such would happen, then I could do this or that." When everyone's waiting, nothing's getting done. Our action changes the world. Our action improves ourselves. Those who offer love increase the love of themselves. Those who bestow comfort deepen the comfort in themselves. Those who effect salvation assure the salvation in themselves. Waiting is a surrendering to fate. Action is putting flesh on a dream. Yes, I celebrate Easter. The Orthodox will say that I'm a pagan. The secularist will say that I am a reactionary. but both have forgotten the origins of the holiday. A festival for the rebirth of earth, a festival for the renewal of faith, a festival for the resurrection of adventure, for the rising of your own best spirit. Easter has always been a fusion of ideas, a collection of hopes, a combination of expectations. Yet in every age it whispers, listen, life is short, awaken to your full potential. The kingdom of heaven is within your grasp if you plunge into the task of creation. What are you waiting for? Happy Easter, everyone. David?
Thank you, Reverend Don. Good words to think about on this Easter morning. Before we get to our closing hymn, I noted that several people commented how much they enjoyed Liz reading some of Hoyt's poems. And I'm in the M&M room, and right behind me on the bookshelf, I should point out, are several copies of Hoyt's poetry and writings in a book. And so if anybody is interested in coming in and checking these out, they're your books. If you just wait a few weeks for Miss Laura to come back from her Florida trip, she'll be happy to let you in and you can take these books home and read them. Very good. So thank you, Liz, for bringing that up. And now our closing hymn this one is in our hymn book. It's number 270, O Day of Light of Gladness. And once again, we are led by Ruth McNugent. And for our postlude, we'll have some traditional Easter music.
O day of light and gladness, of prophecy and song, what thoughts within us waken, what hallowed memories throng. The soul's horizon widens, past, present, future blend, and rises on a vision, the life that has no end. Earth feels the seasons' joyance, the mountain range to see. The tides of life are flowing, fresh, manifold, and free. In valley and on upland, by forest pathways dim, all nature lifts in chorus the resurrection hymn. O dawn of life eternal, to thee our hearts upraise the Easter song of gladness, the Passover of praise. Thine are the many mansions, the dead die not to thee, who flewest from thy fullness, time and eternity.
Our closing words are from my colleague, Sarah Morris Campbell. In the tomb of the soul, we carry secret yearnings, pains, frustrations, loneliness, fears, regrets, worries. In the tomb of the soul, we take refuge from the world and its heaviness. In the tomb of the soul, we wrap ourselves in the security of darkness. Sometimes this is a comfort, Sometimes it is an escape. Sometimes it prepares us for experience. Sometimes it insulates us from life. Sometimes this tuned life gives us time to feel the pain of the world and reach out to heal others. Sometimes it numbs us and locks us up with our own concerns. In this season where light and dark balance the day, we seek balance for ourselves. Grateful for the darkness that has nourished us, we push away the stone and invite the light to awaken us to the possibilities within us and among us. Possibilities for new life in ourselves and in our world.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart the streams of compassion, blowing the wind, rise in the sea. In the hand, giving life a chain of justice, roots holy coast, wings of setting free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.